potentially traveling to Europe and India. Srimad has been he's been crushed by Parvati. He's bowed down before her with great humility, and he's basically explaining to her that he does not blame her for giving this curse because he understands that simply everything has been dictated as a result of his past misdeeds. This is the view of the devotee, and the result of the devotee is that much more is due to him, that he simply gets a token reaction. So in the purport here, Prabhupada quotes the verse from Bhagavatam, Prakritya Priyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvashaha Ahankara Vibhutatma Kartaham Iti This perfectly sums up the mentality of conditioned souls, is that they think that the doer. Key word in this verse is ahankara. But because of the world by the false ego, they think somehow or other they're in control of the material energy. Therefore, they have to suffer the consequences. It becomes, they take credit for the good and the bad. This word ahankara, I was hearing etymologically, it means aham means I to the self, and kara means to create. So the false ego is this propensity to create this false identity for ourselves. And once we have that mentality, then we're going to constantly be taking credit and blame. So we see previously in Maharaj Srimada's life, he was very much motivated by the false ego. And one of the ways to see when someone is motivated by the false ego is how much they're taking credit, even for the good or for the bad things. So previously he was very a lot of material enjoyment facility. He had no son. And it was trying very hard to get a son. Excessively hard, millions and millions of lives. Because he thought somehow, I'm the doer. It's my duty to get a son. The son is scripture, he's born and deliver him, etc. And therefore he saw himself as a doer, that went to all this extraneous endeavor to get himself a son. Resultantly, it was not under his control, but when he gets the blessings of the and so now he's in a position where his mentality is completely changed, and he no longer thinks he's doer. He's no longer taking credit for the actions that have happened so far. In this way, he can actually be truly meek and humble. Prabhupada says in the previous purport, a devotee is naturally so humble and meek that he accepts any condition of life as a blessing from the Lord. A devotee always accepts punishment from anyone as the mercy of the Lord. And this mentality can only exist as an expression of true humility. And true humility comes when we're not taking, when false ego is out of the picture. There's almost a sense of false ego is building up the sense of I. This false identity, and this false identity that relies on pride to sustain it. It's a complete illusion, but if you knock out the pride, then what's there to be, remaining there? So when false ego is out of the picture, then true humility is there, and then we can actually see everything as a blessing from the Lord. I was thinking as well, Maharaj Chitriketa, in this position, he's previously was being motivated by false ego, and now he's come to the position of humility, and he's simply giving credit to the Lord. And in this way, that we see as the pastime unfolds, when he takes birth as which was served, which is the curse, etc. What happens is that he gets an opportunity to engage in preaching in Sankirtan. Because ultimately, when you read the prayers of Richard these beautiful, beautiful, exalted prayers, which are glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, ultimately, this is the most exalted and intimate service that one can actually render to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in one sense, is to spread His glories. And Krishna says, no one is more dear to me than one who shares His message. But it's a true expression of love. If you truly love someone, then you cannot help but tell people about them. We can have different motivations for preaching. We could perhaps want to, we feel not so secure in our faith, so want to get other people to agree with us, to make us feel more secure. Or we can, maybe slightly be honest, we can feel over perhaps our duty. The other senior Vaishnavas are telling us to do it. We see that Prabhupada is telling us to do it. These are all good reasons to engage in some sort of preaching. Ultimately, to do it, shoot completely out of love. There's so much, love of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is very exalted. And this is the opportunity that's been given to Maharaj Chuketa. Previously, we were hearing when he was traveling with the Vidyadharas, he was chanting the glories of the Lord. And he must have been chanting very, very nicely, because the opportunity to engage actually in preaching activity, because it's preaching activity, the opportunity to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even this opportunity is comes about by the will of the Lord. The fact that there's someone there who's ready to listen. Prabhupada talks about how his spiritual master sent all his disciples to him. And in one sense, it's Prabhupada's humility, but in another sense, there is also direction of the Supreme. Well, you hear people. I was hearing one story recently that one Prabhupada disciple called Dhritarashtra, and he sees a leaflet. He's sort of living as a hippie on the beach. He sees a leaflet for some transcendental sound vibration or something. And the Swami is coming to town. And he thinks nothing of it. And that night he has a dream. And the dream telling him you have to go see the Swami. You have to go see the Swami. And someone other arranges, he wakes up in the middle of the night and he runs and finds Prabhupada. And this way you see there's Krishna's arrangement is actually bringing people to allow the preaching to happen in one sense. And this is his mercy. It's described in the Bhagavad Gita that there's 5 causes of action. There's 5 factors of action. There's, let's see if I can remember them all. I might need to ask for some help. The place where the action takes place. There's the senses. There's the endeavor. There's the Supreme Lord himself as a super soul. And there's also the individual doer. And unless you actually take account of all these 5 factors of action, then you've got a very limited understanding of any activity that's actually taking place. It's all down to me. You're simply one tiny factor amongst a whole myriad of other competing forces. So when it comes to preaching, it's very evident. You think, well, I'm going to go out and tell people about Krishna, but unless Krishna sends people, then not going to be anyone there. And even we see within the institution of ISKCON, so if I'm going to go out and distribute books, I can only distribute books because, as we're reading earlier, so many disciples have dedicated their entire lives to printing these books. Prabhupada wrote them, and he printed and distributed them, and they've got temples and in a higher sense, you have got this physical body which allows you to interact with people, and there's so many other factors outside my control. I'll see a very nice point because there's these 5 factors of action, 5 factors, and so I have to think, it's wonder what he's explaining. First of all, there's I can't remember what order they're listed in the Gita, but there's the senses. Now, the way to control the senses is to engage in the service of the spiritual master. And so, Supreme Spiritual Master is Lord Balaram or Lord Nityananda. Okay, Lord Nityananda. And similarly, then there is endeavor. Endeavor is a form of energy, and Krishna's internal energy is the personification of Srimati Radharani or Gadadhar Pandit. And also there's the individual jiva, who in this case is we're talking about a devotee, and all the devotees are headed by Srivas. Then there's also the direction of the Supreme Lord as a super soul, and super soul is an expansion of Mahavishnu, which is also non-different from the Great Acharya. And then there's a place of action, and it's described as everything's taking place just inside the heart and the heart of it. Therefore, he's a supreme place of action. So if we've got any success in any endeavour, particularly in preaching, then we have to take shelter of the Panca Tattva.
Yeah.
It's a nice point, I don't quite know. We take shelter with our success. Because this is the beauty of working without false ego. Krishna says in the Gita, Mat Dasa Rudurgani, Mat Prasada Trisisi, Atta Chittam Ahankara, Sroshani Vinangsiti. That if we become conscious of Him, then we overcome all obstacles by His grace. But if it's not working as conscious, not hearing, then we'll be lost. Acting in a false ego, not hearing, then we will be lost. And this is the Prabhupada writes in that purport actually, how Krishna is, he's the most intimate friend. Prabhupada says it's the most intimate friend. Always looking after his devotee, who is engaged 24 hours in trying to rendering him devotional service. And if there's no fear when we're actually truly working in line with Krishna, we're not working in line with false ego. I heard one nice story. I was listening yesterday actually. There's the personal servant of Kirana Maharaj was doing some interviews. Very nice. Nita Padakamana. And one the devotee was asking him, so what are you feeling? Explain your feeling of loss. How is it since Maharaj has left his body? You spent so much time with him. How are you sort of continuing to execute your devotional service? What's different? And he said, well, most things are the same, I still chant japa, I still follow his instructions, and this way I still feel the connection. But the thing that I find most, I feel is lost the most is that his sense of protection. Because he was saying that as a young devotee, then often you make some mistakes, etc. Always Maharaj was looking after him. And he said one nice story that is sort of in relation to this. So he said, one time we were travelling around Europe and it was very spontaneous. Maharaj was quite often like that. They said they follow the sun. We're at the sun, there we go. And so literally one day Maharaj said, okay, tomorrow we'll go to Bangladesh. And so this servant, he messages one god sister who's quite senior in Bangladesh and also looks after Maharaj when he comes there. And he says, okay, Maharaj is coming to Bangladesh tomorrow. And then she goes absolutely ballistic. As you can imagine, she's probably goes in her plate already. And then to be told that your spiritual master, who's also in charge of that, he was sort of overseeing that temple, is coming tomorrow. There's quite a lot to get put in the place. She's phoning up, you cannot tell me that one day that my spiritual master is coming. She's going like this crazy shouting. And then somewhere or other, Maharaj gets put on the phone. And he says, do you know who's to blame? I said, no, Rambha Khan Swami is to blame. And she can't say anything, it's a bit angry. She could have done another second key. But I was just reflecting on that story in relation to this pastime. You see that the servant, he was simply executing the order of the spiritual master, and it's no different from the world of Christian. He's completely aligned. He's hearing, but he's not lost. They're protected. So even though, probably was, perhaps that man did a fair enough reason for getting quite angry, etc. But nonetheless, he's protected. He's not acting at any cost. He's simply acting under the shelter of the bona fide spiritual master. And this is the beauty of Christian consciousness when we take that position, when we're lost. Like Krishna is the most intimate friend, Father Raven. He's the most intimate friend, but only when we properly begin to act for him. When we're so busy just acting, this is the beauty when we begin to actually act for him and just engage in devotional service, and we instantly come beyond this. We're hearing the last verse actually. Prabhupada spoke to Panca yoga, Vitarina, Bhakti yoga, and Sevati, Sargana, Samatita, and Brahma Kalpati. That one engages in devotional service unceasingly every time, and he becomes beyond the world's material nature. And this is the exalted position of Bhakti. But it's not so easy to act in such a consciousness. Often devotional service is a height of piety that is unceasing, it's unmotivated. It's a constant level. It's not actually, you cannot just add a little bit of bhakti to your life. We often talk about this. You can't go for Hare Krishna, you add a little bit of bhakti. It's nice, but it's an entire. The process of bhakti is destroying the false ego. So you have to put everything you have into it. Yeah. And so it's interesting as well that there's so many descriptions. So Bhagavad Gita often gives us more theoretical knowledge, and Bhagavatam gives more sort of practical examples. Gita is small, so it sort of gives the essence. With Bhagavatam, actually lets you see how the teachings of Gita are being lived in real life. And Arjuna, multiple times, Ashish was going over from me, but he asks questions such as what are the symptoms of such a self-awareness? So, in the 14th chapter, he asks, what are the symptoms of one who is transcended the most material nature? What is his behaviour? And how do you actually transcend those? And also, in the second chapter, he also asks, in the 16th chapter, I think. And we see that even in modern literature, there's so much interest and emphasis upon how successful people act. There's all these self-help books about I'm gathering one 5 a.m. club recently, that all people will wake up at 5 a.m. They're successful businessmen or sportsmen, and it's sort of they do this behavior, and they're successful. It also is the habits of highly successful people, and there's also so much fascination with even at mundane biography. You're seeing, look at this losing competition or etc. What is it, or the sports person? What is it that's made their life successful? We want that in some sense. We want that success. And so that mentality is actually very, very natural, and this is what Arjuna's question, because he wants, there's two things. He wants to be able to identify who is actually the exalted personality. It's not always very clear. Who is it who's actually involved in those material nature? Who is it who you can actually take shelter of? But also, how do I come to that position myself? We have to understand that until we actually learn the way to cultivate it. Devotional service actually probably begins when we learn most material nature. Sort of thing comes to be beyond desire, hankering, practicing material, and even often engage in devotional service. So we have to aspire for this. And then so in Bhagavatam we're seeing practical examples. Maharaj Srikrishna is showing us the path of how to become free from the most material nature, because you can only respond like he has to being cursed, taking part as a demon, taking the body of a demon, and to be completely that equipoise as he is, and saying, "My dear brother, neither you nor I are to be blamed." He's saying with folded hands, with his head bowed. This is not a sort of forced humility. This is a natural expression of his, him being free from false ego, and he's not thinking he's a doer. And we see that it's not that he just came to that position straight away. There was a process, Like he was distressed. He received the mercy of the devotees. The devotees gave him some realization. They also gave him now maybe from a mantra. He initiated the visit, told him to chant this mantra, engage in service. And similarly, it's actually not different to what was happening in our lives. The details change, but the principle remains the same. Even in this verse, this is Brahmyan Sukham Sudukam Sa Brahmyan. Similar to Ramanda Brahmati, we're wandering in the field up and down in all the different species of life and all the different planetary systems. Guru Krishna presided by Bhakti of the Visa, but when you see the mercy of Guru and Krishna, then you see the devotional service planted within the heart. And therefore it becomes our prime duty and necessity to care for the seed which is about to let the beach. Because the living by ignorance, living into the wonders in the forest of this material world, we're going deeper and deeper into the forest. In the forest, like one action, it's like one seed, And one seed is planted in the ground, and it grows a tree. And that tree has hundreds of fruits, and each of those fruits have hundreds of seeds, and each of those seeds produces hundreds of trees. And this is the way that material entanglement, by simply our own endeavour, we're just going to get more and more entangled. You're walking deeper and deeper into that forest. You're not going to get any closer to the exit. You're just going to get more and more lost. But the spiritual master only began to understand. He opened up our eyes and sharpened his awareness. Similarly, we hear Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami plays Sri Krishna said, one day Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodiko, Goridai Avantro, Chitro Sangha, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord Krishna Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and the moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Buddha, just to destroy the darkness of ignorance, and there's one to restore benefits to all. That the sun is very bright, and the moon is also very bright and very cool. And the two of them have risen at the same time. There are no excuse for remaining in ignorance anymore. There's no excuses. Just as the sun rises and the sun comes west, part of that describes one of these purports. The sun comes west. Similarly, the mercy of Lord Chaitanya coming west to the Western countries. And it's, he's forcing open eyes. This is like, and you come in contact with devotees, receive some transcendental literature, you hear the mantra, then your eyes have been forced open. There's everything you can do to try and convince yourself that you can enjoy the material world. But simply to be convinced that you cannot enjoy the material world is not sufficient to overcome the pullings and pushings of the material energy. We've been stuck here for so long that it's completely our to try and enjoy somehow the material energy. And any sort of theoretical or philosophical conviction is not strong enough. We have to become attached to Krishna. We cannot artificially overcome the modes of material nature. It's simply by following the instructions of the spiritual master, holding the instructions of the spiritual master as a jewel in our head, it's a most prized possession, um, and by developing attachment, by actually hearing attentively the holy name, which is the most potent method for self-realization in these days, then some attachment can awaken in the heart. We become free from so many different unmade desires, attachment awakening from the heart, we get close to Krishna. And in this way we become free from false ego, we become meek, humble, we can actually execute the will of the Lord. And ultimately, as seen in the example of marriage situated, then we can be great in some future activity. So, I'll stop here for those who
Yeah, just because we're close to end the class. Thank you for the class. You were saying Ahankara means I am the creator. I was thinking listening to the word Katahan. Katahan means humility. I was just reflecting on that verse that if you don't blame, then you free yourself from blame, which is counterintuitive. It's not if you get blamed, it means you immediate responses to blame them. So you usually go back and attack them if they affect you. But in order to get free from blames, you should not blame anybody. And you were saying about printing the books, and distributing the books, even more importantly, reading the books, even more importantly, applying the books. And you were saying about hearing, if you're not hearing me, then basically what Krishna is saying is, you're either hearing me or you're hearing the false ego. They're the two choices you go. And you may have people in the community, and they're acting independently of the spiritual master's direction. So in that sense, you could say that they're lost because they're acting out of false ego rather than checking with the. And I just wanted to wonder if you could clarify the point. I didn't quite understand what you meant. You were saying that Kiran Kamaraj was going to come the next day, and then he told the thing on the side of his that I'm not to blame. So what was the point of it?
His point is that he told his servant, okay, we're going to Bangladesh tomorrow. And so the servant tried to arrange everything. And he was getting so much backlash from the people at Bangladesh saying, how could you just tell us that one day you've got so much to arrange, trading up and things. And when we got the camera, he sort of stood and sort of shouted the servant and said, no, I'm the one to blame.
Oh, that's it. Thank you. So that's the reputation.
Yeah. Just on that point on false egos, I was also reading, I think it might be that same purport in that verse. Prabhupada is saying here that the devotee is safe because they're always acting under the directions of the super soul as confirmed by the spiritual master. So we just don't say that we cannot hear the Paramatma most of the time because of the false ego. But then similarly, Krishna comes as the external manifestation of the super soul in the form of spiritual master. But still, the false ego is there, we cannot properly hear. Even though he's telling us something, like how many times you have to listen to Prabhupada instructing us, etc. But we still don't directly hear because the false ego is there.
And the other danger is somebody else may be following their spiritual master, and you may blame them and say you're acting out of false ego. So that would be very awkward for everybody. He's just he's contacting the spiritual master in what direction he follows that, and then if you criticize whatever he's doing, you're criticizing the spiritual master, so then you're in hot water.
Thank Thank you, bro. So does it mean that you do not blame me, I do not blame you? None of us have committed a mistake, and it's just life, and we move on. Is it like I can be?
Well, you've seen this pattern in exactly the devotees are involved. But to understand that they're not this body, this is sort of happening, we're getting some results of past activities, etc. Ultimately, on a spiritual level, we both have a lot of respect for each other. Yes, my dear mother. This doesn't mean that people cannot make mistakes, and we still, yeah.
I'm just thinking, there's an interesting verse in the instruction that says, "We take shelter of those whose hearts are really devoid of the propensity to criticize others." But it doesn't mean the first unit of spiritual chastise, but it means that he's not criticizing in the sense that he wants to bring the person down. So in the same way, somebody may be wrong, and somebody may point that out to him, but that's not the same as blaming the person in the sense that you want to bring the person down, rather you want to bring the person up. So the blaming itself is a problem if it's done out of false ego, but if the blame is in the sense of like constructive criticism, I really love you, I really respect you, but I think this is inappropriate, and then the person can take that type of feedback rather than feeling he's being put down or criticized. Like non-violent communication is you don't pass a judgment on somebody. So if somebody slams the door, you don't turn around and say, "You ignorant fool. Why did you slam the door?" Because then the person will just want to defend himself. So when they slam the door, you say, "I don't know when you slam the door. It makes my heart shatter into a million pieces. Could you not do that, please?" So then he doesn't feel like he's being blamed. And at the same time, you're letting him say, "Well, that's causing you, put you in a wrong position, and you're being hurt by that." And it's a real art of how to give the feedback in such a way that the person doesn't become defensive, but the person becomes compassionate as well. I don't make your heart break into a million pieces on the side.
Yeah, because the way of someone is see them as the doer as well. It's like it's equally working in the false ego. I mean, they've done this. They're just, in one sense, we're trying to take your mind and you're going to come and service that. But not only are we just subject to the most material nature, so is another person as well. And the spirit soul is beyond the most material nature.
It's interesting because Krishna is blaming, he's saying with the lust, association and relationship, they would say, if you don't follow and hear me, and that's it, you're finished. You are getting out of false ego, you're not hearing me. So he's blaming them again. Don't blame me, I told you what to do. You don't do it.
I wouldn't say that's blame, it's more just presenting the reality of the situation.
Well, the person would say, "No, it's not my fault." And Krishna says, "Well, it's not my fault." So who is it? And it's nobody's fault. That's the point you're making, isn't it? Well, it's no one's fault. But okay, so it's no one's fault, but he's still going to be lost. He's going to be cast into the abyss, cast out into annoying excuses of life. Krishna says also, and that's blaming people, isn't it?
I think we need discussion after class.
It's been on for a while.
It's really nice fasting. Yeah. I think that you should explain next in your classroom.
That's a good question.
Congratulations, Bhagavatam ki.
Yeah.
Eko premanante.
Hello.
Let's raise Panca down for okay.
Jai.